you can kind of see how a person is even when they think you're not looking.
Or you can get more followers if you're about that life.
Man, bump them followers, bro. So, last question of the day that came in. How do you maintain a healthy sex life after marriage? How do you maintain a healthy sex life
I'll let you take that one.
after marriage?
I'll let you get into it.
How do you being that I was married for a decade,
Yep.
you know, in my early 20s,
Get comfortable for this shit.
from my early 20s, and still in my early 30s.
Yeah.
Now, I've realized one thing, right? One,
Yeah.
it's very important how you start something. We both know it's about finishing, but it's how you start something. When I'm speaking general, I mean how you start a boundary or expectation.
Okay. I'm glad you
Being direct in what you're looking for and what you want, right? So first off, this question is about how do you maintain a healthy sex life after marriage. So we both have to establish we have a healthy sex life prior to, right, marriage, right? If we are, unless you're waiting or whatever. But so the question is, like, are you being, first of all, in order to abstain a healthy sex life after marriage, one, you got to be honest.
But this is after marriage. Like
You got to be honest.
So everything. No, I can't ride with that because everything prior to marriage is good times. That's when you.
Whoa.
That's when you wild out now.
I don't agree with you on that. How can you have a healthy sex life if you're not being honest?
I'm saying, at the beginning, it is all just more of like, I don't want to say lust, but it's more like it's new, it's fresh. After marriage is when it starts to slow down.
How can
For some people.
How can it be healthy if you're not being honest? If a person is not pleasing you or doing what you need to do, if you're dealing with the selfish lover is a person that goes into an act of intimacy with someone only to please themselves and not trying to please the other. And so you have to ask questions that you got to ask.
So what question are you asking, Joe?
First of all, are you satisfied?
What if she's like, no, that was trash?
Okay, what's trash? Hey, is the meat? She married me, bro. So like, I don't think the Jimmy is too small, right? Or maybe she's
you could just be to the punch,
bro.
And there's no play into it. There's no build up.
No.
You're not making it stimulating.
First of all right. So this is where honesty come in, right? Within honesty, as you get a little bit older, you should be learning, right, that it's just not blowing the back out, right? So you it's the foreplay, it's the realizing women are stimulated mentally, cool. And men are more stimulated by what they see physically, right? And so if we both understand that, you know, you want your lady to keep herself up to a certain extent as a man, because you what you look at is what you get aroused by, right? Or no?
Okay.
I'm on the right track?
Cool.
But so it goes both ways too, pause, in the sense of when after marriage, you can't as a man lose yourself and expect her to keep up herself, and she can't lose herself, right? And expect you to keep up yourself, right? I think we both got work to do.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think more on the lines of the question, like after marriage. Like I look at two different pieces of this. Before marriage, things is fast and furious.
But we're not talking about before marriage.
After marriage,
we're talking about after marriage, bro. We're married now.
But
how do we keep our relation? How do we keep this sex healthy?
Okay, so after marriage, you have to have open conversations, like you said.
Honesty.
You have to have open conversations, and then you got to be willing to explore or really ask a person what they really want. As far as like, you might have to watch some flicks with them. I'm like, yo, you like that, or you interested in that, or
right.
You might have to have some real conversations that might be tough, or. I And I also feel it has to be more about the build up too. Like you got to be concerned because after a while.
So mental stimulation has
mental
always
stimulation.
Been, mental
But
stimulation.
I'm saying like after a while you get it's like anything else in marriage. Like you got kids, you start raising kids. Y'all got roles. Y'all start on autopilot.
Okay.
You're not really.
So
and the sex life goes the same way like that too. Sometimes you're on autopilot. And you forget that before that it was a build up.
I'm gonna throw you another monkey wrench.
Go ahead.
So we said honesty, mental stimulation, spontaneity, switching it up.
Okay.
Not getting so much in a routine and always doing the same. Like you gotta switch it up sometimes. She should know. She shouldn't know every time you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and then it's gonna be over. Like you should switch it up sometimes. You may want to be explorative. As you said,
it shouldn't be like your basketball game. You can't just put it through your legs and then shoot it.
Not every time, yo.
Waiting for that,
like you know. Sometimes you know what I'm saying. Take her on the deck and tell her to come outside. You be on the deck. You know what I'm saying. Treat her like you about to rob her. You know what I'm saying. And just come up, grip her.
Oh, okay.
Take over. Like I think we should always be like trying to reinvent yourself. Like we talk about reinventing ourselves in our careers. We talk about reinventing ourselves. You know, as husbands, fathers, and like advocates in our community and things like that. And I think sometimes we forget home, right? Because it's hard to have to create a balance, and we think sometimes that we're doing so well. Oh, I put it down and all this and that, but you never stop dating or courting a woman when you get with her. That's what I've learned. I could be wrong.
I always hear dudes say that. I hear people say that all the time, right?
Yeah.
But what does that really mean? Because, dude, you're gonna forget. Like, if you do something, you don't remember the last time you got into the car and you put it in drive. You just get in the car, you put it in drive. So after a while, you get used to something. So I think the question should be like, how do you remember to do all these things? Like all these things sound good, and we all got the answers to it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you prime yourself to remember that?
All right. For example, working out. After a certain period of time, my body's getting used to me going to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? After a period of time when I'm getting used to the same, my body's getting, I switch it up. I may go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It's like I'm a planner. So like I naturally, when I get a certain progression, I feel like I'm plateaued or I feel like the spark isn't there, I automatically go to switching it up. And it always works. So for instance, if I'm dating someone, right, and we always get up on a Friday, you know, for 2 weeks, or we've done that for 2 months, I may switch it up and throw a monkey wrench in and go out on a Tuesday. Switch a week, you know, on a Tuesday and go out on a Sunday. It's like you're constantly trying.
Your schedule. It might be like hot wax Monday.
Yeah, baby. So it's like you have to, you gotta be intentional because as the man, you are the leader. You're leading this, and so you don't want a person to it's kind of like you always talk about being in the hood, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
not always, but a lot though.
So when you was in the hood, right? Did you always want dudes to know your flow, like how you rock?
Pause.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means, but probably not. I would say no.
Like, are you the type of dude that if you feel like someone catching on to your flow, that you try to switch it up? Because you, like, if you was ever in the streets, right? Yeah. You wouldn't go do a drop the same time.
No. You gotta go. I mean, even when I was dating, like I would bring a young lady to my house like 5 different ways because you don't know who's who.
So if you would do that in dating, that's the same philosophy you would have in your marriage and sex. But us dudes sometimes we don't understand that that's the same methodology that we should have. And that's all women be saying sometimes. Like they'll look at how we could do this great thing, that great thing, and it takes us reinventing ourselves, right? But when it comes to them, we think we just give them the same thing all the time. And it's just like, nah, like hit me like you just got out of prison sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I get home, put out the mattress. Like, strip me down.
Everybody might not like that though.
Hey.
But if you have somebody,
not all the time. She might not like that all the time.
But because somebody might like just making love, like somebody just stroking the back of their head.
So you think
rose petals and shit like that?
Okay, so seasons, right? Do you believe in for everything there's seasons? There's times.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
there's
Where you
times.
going with it though?
So there's times where she want to be romantic. There's times where she wants lovemaking. There's times where lay it down. There's times to where I want to be in front of an ocean on the banister. There's times to where I want to try a different high rise. You see what I'm saying? You constantly giving this person different experiences, different vibes, as they say nowadays, right? Don't give me a different vibe. And you only do that by being intentional. You have to make yourself want to do these things.
But that's when the communication part comes into too, because I feel like when you with someone, you're not with somebody, you're not going to be with that same person 5 years from now, because they're always going to evolve as a person. So just because they like the pounding year 1, 2, 3 and the hot candle wax you bring out, year 5 they might be like, I'm not really like that. I probably just did that because you like that.
I disagree, because truly who we are at its core, right? Who we are at our core, even we're a big circle. So yeah, in year 5, I may not want bro, you got to think about it. I may not want the pounding this Tuesday, but maybe in June I do. So it's like you have like being honest with that person, figuring out how they want to be loved, right? You ever heard a woman say like they don't want to necessarily tell you what to do, you should know?
Yes, I've heard that.
Huh? What do you think about a woman saying that?
What I really think about that, like,
Yeah.
That's wild to me. But I've learned to understand it now. Like now, I learned to kind of understand that there's a level of what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's a level of you care because you're willing to get to what makes me feel a certain type of way without me telling you. Like you're willing to go down that journey and discover what that is.
I like that word, discover, right? So do you feel like a lot of women, they want you to discover who they are without them telling you?
Some.
Okay. So when you are trying different things, you as an individual, do you find that fun, or do you find that like, man, I don't want to do this?
I find it fun, but I also feel like, to my point, people change. So what that person might like then, like it goes back to the first thing we was talking about, open communication. You have to have the communication, because just because they like it then, you might discover 2-3 years ago, I only did that because I know you like that, but I really didn't like that. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but when I come from the standpoint of, you say people change, bro, we're humans. We don't evolve or change that much. It's not, but personally, I don't believe that, because at the end of the day, there's not but so many ways to intrigue a person. Like you can find out, but it's like even if they switch, you can find out if you're willing to discover and explore an individual. You can crack the code, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And if that person's into you and you're willing to do the work, you can find out. So whether they change year 5, year 6, if you're constantly reinventing yourself, it'll always be a challenge. And I think that's the element sometimes that's lacked out of relationships and healthy sex life, is that they're not willing to put in the work. We as men sometimes, bro, let's be honest. Would you agree or disagree that we get lazy?
Someone born with greatness, others born with hatred. The Lord awaits me, but before I'm gone, I'm caking. Getting it on for kids, make a child, all the kids just witnesses. Random straight shots hit the innocent. I wonder when I'm high zoning, why I seen so much shit at a young age.